Attention, 5-9 gamers. We are back with your favorite Dokkan Battle podcast called the Dokkan Battle Podcast. Happy 1 year anniversary, everybody. It has been a long, long journey. I am not alone here, but I am your host, Toonrami. Joining me this week is the part-time stand user and full-time Super Battle Road King, TheMaskedNingen.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Happy first birthday to 5-9 Gaming. Very excited.
The homie who needs no introduction, Goresh.
I'm looking back and I'm kind of missing the 59 Gaming shout out by Noir in that clip we just watched. Pretty nostalgic.
Our brand new Dokkan Division co-lead who still hates Blue Kaioken Goku, Minato.
Hello, thank you all. It's wonderful to be here.
And we are bringing in a very, very special guest. He is the reason that we are all doing crack today in Dokkan. The original crack god himself, Havohei.
Hey everyone, glad to be here.
I feel a little guilty saying that live.
Maybe we should clarify just for the few people who actually don't know what we're talking about.
All right, go ahead and clarify then, Ningen.
All right, okay, so you all know, I'm sure, the meme of cracking the code when you do summons, which was originally brought to us by Havohei. I first heard of it from Toon, and he has subsequently shortened it to just doing crack. So now we all just say to each other, I'm doing crack when we crack the code. So you can thank Toon and Havohei for that.
I had an elegant way of doing this, and then now Toon is just literally just goes to the card and taps endlessly. It doesn't make any sense. But hey, you know what? Whatever works for you.
Yeah, he's the progenitor of crack.
The progenitor, yeah. Make sure you guys are locked in across all of our social media platforms and connect to the 59G network today. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, subscribe to all of our YouTube channels, join the Discord, the Facebook fan page, the new subreddit, the website, everything. Make sure you guys are fully linked in today. All the links are everywhere. And also stay tuned because tonight on the channel, we are going to be streaming some extra fun content for you guys to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. We're going to be doing things like Among Us, maybe some Mario Party, and some other stuff. So make sure you guys are tuned in tonight for the festivities to continue. Also, wanted to plug our merch real quick because to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of 5-9 Gaming, we are launching a limited edition design in both Global and JP's theme. So if you guys want to snag a t-shirt today, make sure to check out our link on Redbubble. And hopefully someone will have posted the links in the chat. You guys can snag a piece of history today. Without further ado, let's go ahead.
Just want to clarify, it is a limited run as well. This is not going to be around for that long. So.
Didn't I say limited edition?
Well, I just wanted to make sure people understood what that meant. Right?
All right. No, it's fair. You know, sometimes I don't know what I say, so it's a good thing. Without further ado, let's jump into episode 52, the Namek Saga finale. So guys, obviously, with a 350 million download celebration coming to a close, we are basically running through the rest of the campaign with a bunch of EZAs. So we'll start with the biggest and most prominent EZA to hit the scene, and that is the Bardock LR EZA. So we'll just leave it open to you guys. Anyone can take the floor. What do you guys think about the newest LR EZA? Does this unit now become super relevant, top tier, mid? What are your thoughts on Bardock's new awakening?
Really good, really easy to use. I'll just say the thing that I like the most about him is that the fact that he gets so much ki from his passive. It makes him pretty much usable on every single team without much, hassle that you have to do to get to that point. So
I found him very consistent because of the ki he gets as well. He's strong defensively, offensively. The ceiling is helpful for Super Battle Road. He's just overall very good unit with a lot of strengths, not many weaknesses I found.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy using him on multiple different teams, but one thing that I realized, this being a Neo 100, right, better than the OG 90, is his leader skill is actually weaker than the OG 90s. I don't know if you guys noticed that. That was like, I was hoping that it would go maybe 130, but having it as just type class advantage 120, and then the other side, the extreme class at 90 didn't make any sense. But anyway, overall, I'd say it would be mid, right around, I'd say, Majin Vegeta level, maybe better, especially on Super Battle Road. He's absolutely better. So
I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm pretty biased when it comes to my boy Bardock, but I mean, he's a very strong card. I'm very much enjoying using him in a couple of different setups. He definitely needs a little bit more. Like, he's on some teams that he can work well on, but his links are well, I'm not going to say like an issue, but certain teams he's going to get better. I definitely noticed that as a global player, JP, you guys obviously have the advantage of being able to run him on a Super Vegeta Pure Saiyans team, who is a unit that does have Saiyan pride. Because obviously, if you're not running him on like the actual Team Bardock team, some of his better teams are things like Goku Family, where there aren't really any units that have Saiyan pride outside of like other Bardocks, and we really need those old like Super Saiyan Bardocks to get easy A's. And then I think he'll be even better on some of those teams once he gets some better link partners. Because one of his best link partners is the LR Team Bardock, who is pretty much unusable in difficult content, and we can't even get all the copies to actually max out yet. So he's definitely good at the moment, but I think when you finally get a setup where you can really make him shine, like on the Super Vegeta Pure Saiyans team with like physical Super Saiyan Bardock with an easy A, I think he's going to look so much better when that situation presents itself than he does now. But I still think he's very solid, so I'm very happy with how his easy A turned out.
Why? You
I want to go back to
the Team
go
Bardock again.
No, I tried getting him to level 10 links to unlock the last 2 copies, but that didn't work. So I just...
I was just gonna say as well. Yeah, the Pure Saiyan team, right? That would be a really good team for this Bardock. I mean, you can run it with physical transforming Vegeta, but probably not a great idea. I think that team would work really well because actually one setup I really want to try out is the physical Bardock with the Vegeta / Goku that just came out, because they do actually share like 4 links, which is actually pretty good. So I think that actually could be a good rotation, but I'm not gonna run the Pure Saiyan team with that Vegeta as the leader. So I'm gonna wait for the Super Vegeta to come out.
I took Bardock into the Pure Saiyans Super Battle Road, Extreme Super Battle Road stage, because I do have Super Vegeta, and he worked really, really well there. So I was honestly very pleased.
Yeah, I like the fact that his, I mean, I know this was pre-Easy A anyway, but I like the fact that he seals on his 18 key, because some of the other LRs, like I think Spirit Bomb Goku does this. I'm pretty sure the free-to-play Saiyaman 1 and 2 do this, where obviously LRs generally, their 18 key is the one that does more damage, and then a lot of them will have like a utility effect, like stunning or sealing on their 12 key. So then in something like Super Battle Road, you kind of have to decide which one you want to go for, because obviously something like sealing in Super Battle Road is really useful. So I like the fact that he has it on his 18 key, so you can just go for the most powerful super that he does, and you seal the enemy as well. So I quite like that.
How do you guys feel about that 100% once only against a Frieza? Like, just, you know, if you're fighting a Frieza unit in itself and you have that first stage, you get to use that one time in that weak stage, but then down the road you can't use it. How do you guys feel about that setup?
I'm really glad that they limited it, because there's so many Frieza enemies in the game that it would be way too good if they didn't make it limited.
So the
My
thing
answer was about to be a non-sarcastic version of that, so
well, I realized when I was reading it earlier, because it's the extra, is it 12 key and then it's 100% attack, is the once only, because it's what it seems like the way it's worded in a weird way, because then it has afterwards the fact that you get the guaranteed crit. So the guaranteed crit against Frieza is all the time, but the attack buff is once only. And I did a video today. I literally only went into that event because I wanted to see that effect in play, and the only way really I could do it was to go into the collection of epic battles event that has Frieza at the end, and then, like Havohei rightly pointed out, you get it in the first turn, which is obviously the easiest out of the 5 phases, and then you don't get it again. So it almost seems like the only reason he has that is for the Team Bardock stage of Super Battle Road, which obviously on Global we don't have yet, because Frieza is the last fight. So it's a pretty good, like, if you go into that turn with this Bardock on the first rotation, he's getting a massive buff, and he's going to seal him, which is super useful for Super Battle Road. So it obviously makes that fight against that Frieza a little bit easier. But outside of that, I don't really see that much use for it, because even if we eventually get like a legendary Frieza event, it's going to be the same thing. You just get it off in the first turn, and then that's it. And the first turn is like the easiest one in that kind of event. So it does seem a bit strange.
There are
The
two
super
other...
class stage
Yes.
has Frieza in the first fight too.
Yeah, one
So-
Frieza.
But then,
Oh,
then
yeah.
again,
And
then- Yeah.
if you're having trouble with the super physical stage, you could fight like a Mega Frieza and King Cold fight, I believe. Or like
Yeah,
the
but that's
first
like a
Frieza
1 out of
Zarba
3
Midoriya.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
but it's there.
You just reset until you get it. if you're having like, if you're like at the point where you're like, oh man, like if I had like a little bit stronger of a team, I could beat this. Like that actually could help.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, seeing Bardock's passive just made me realize how little Frieza representation we have on events. Because I could have sworn, I don't know, I guess I dreamt it, that we had an Infinite Dragon Ball history stage with a Wicked Bloodline set of enemies. I thought we had that. It just seems like we should already at this point. So the fact that there are so few opportunities to fight a Frieza makes me not too upset about this passive. But if we had a lot more, I feel like I would be more upset about the fact that this is a once only type situation.
Yeah.
Would have loved if it was an active skill, but I don't know how hard or difficult it would be to, add an active skill to a unit that didn't
Extremes
have
the
it
Awakens
before.
and LR into a new active skill. Yeah, I think that might be a bit.
Hey, why not?
Well,
Why not?
it's strange because they could have at least renewed the super attack animation, right? They usually have done that for the past 2 years. They did Ink Gohan, then they did Age Majin Vegeta. Why are they like skimping out on Bardock? I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah, this
I
LR
think
has
it's
always
too
been kind of
good.
an outlier, though, so.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
at least it's
this
somewhat relevant.
after this EZA, this is like the first time I've used this Bardock. Because I've never used this Bardock before, and it was funny because usually when I'm doing runs, I'll see 2s and 3s and 4s on my units, but for the Bardock, I literally had 1, 2 on my links. Everything else was 1. I just never used the guy.
Yeah, I never used them before the EZ either.
Yeah, see, I was fortunate. Being the Bardock fanboy that I am, I did link level him quite early on, and I've tried to show that he's okay. He's not. I think he was underrated pre-EZA, although he did age quite quickly. I think the big problem was he wasn't on great teams, and obviously was replaced by the Dokkan Fest Bardock. So once the same name update came out, that was like a chance you could then potentially use him on a team. But by then, he'd kind of aged out of being relevant in the meta because he could still get up to some reasonable attack stats on the teams that he was on, but his defense was just not up to snuff. So I'm glad that's the main thing they addressed with his EZA.
Yeah, the one last thing I'll say about him is he really does want to be next to that Int Team Bardock. There's like 400 different points I could mention about this, but number one, that unit isn't good. Number two, we only have 3 copies available. Number 3, the leader of that team is another base form Bardock, who number 4 is bad. So
Whoa, hey.
there's like 500 reasons not to run this unit next to the Int LR Bardock squad. So I don't know. It's just very very bad design, I think.
Before we move on, I want to go back to the topic that Havohei mentioned before about the leader skill. And given that this is he's part of that second wave of LRs, or as Havohei calls the Neo 100s, were you expecting the leader skill to at least be as good as the OG 90s? Or do you think that these LRs should also sort of get a similar type of power creep in the way that we get the regular TUR level EZAs? Or do you think that with Broly still being the gold standard for LR EZAs, should we still kind of expect to have these EZAs be treated around that same level?
I think when it comes to the leader skill, I think they definitely could have pushed it up to 130 because that is what we're seeing from even current summonable LRs now. And like when the details came out for Vegeta, Goku, and the Krillin and Gohan, that was one of the first things that people said straight away as kind of like a minor complaint that like, why are we still getting LRs with 130 leader skill? So for an older one getting an upgrade, I think they could have easily gone up to at least that level. But then I guess the counterpoint to that is with some of these older units getting the EZAs, you're probably not going to be running them as leaders outside of maybe things like Battlefield or the mono ESBR stages if you still need to do them. So when it comes to non-category leaders, I personally am not too bothered by what they do to their leader skills, because I feel like now that we're solidly out of the mono teams meta, it doesn't really matter what those leader skills are.
But, Dokkan is consistent about it being inconsistent. So that's why we're okay with this. But it just doesn't make any sense to me because it was 10% higher, with the, all AGL or all physical at 90%. And now they moved up to 120. And then this one just went to 120 again. So it just didn't make any sense. So that's why I bring it up.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. I feel like it could have gone a little higher, especially because banner units we're getting nowadays, like the second form Cell, Piccolo, and third form Frieza that we got, they're actually getting 130% leader skills now, when previously they used to be 120%. So I feel like obviously it wouldn't have hurt for them to make this one 30%. There's no reason for them not to, but I guess they just didn't really care because they know no one's gonna run Bardock as a leader anyway. So.
Real quickly, if you guys happen to remember, how long did it take you guys to clear the 10 stages of the Bardock EZA event?
Not very long.
Like 20 minutes at most.
I think about 20 minutes or less for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I streamed it, which I normally never stream anyway, and like a blink of an eye, I was like, oh, I'm done. Okay, yeah. I'll do something else.
Yeah, the thing I'll say about this one is something that I did mention briefly to Toon earlier, is the first 10 stages, I think, is probably the easiest out of the LR EZAs that we've had so far. Now, obviously, again, I'm only speaking from the global perspective, so I haven't played the Martian Vegeta or the Gohan one, but it was super easy compared to the Broly and the Goku and Frieza one. But one thing that I did notice, because I'm one of those crazy people that every now and then when I've got some spare time and I don't have stamina for link leveling, I do try and over level the EZAs just to see how far I can get. And strangely enough, with this team, once I started getting to stage 30 and above, I was finding it a lot harder than the Goku and Frieza one. So it seems it's a bit of a weird thing to notice, but it seems like the scaling for the later levels, it became a lot harder than some of the previous ones. But obviously I know most people don't bother going past stage 10 anyway, so I thought that was kind of an interesting change. So
to add on to that, I did play I did play Gohan and Majin Vegeta's EZA because I'm on JP, and Bardock's is still definitely the easiest for the first 10.
They really just gave us the perfect combination, terrifying conquerors and STR.
Yeah,
doesn't get much better than that.
All right, let's move on to the next batch of EZAs, the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu Force has finally received the 5 EZAs that we expected with the SSRs. However, there is one glaring omission. So I'll ask you guys, for this celebration, are you more happy that the Ginyu Force received their EZAs? They're pretty good. Or are you more upset about the fact that we are not apparently going to be getting the LR Tech Ginyu Goku EZA as well?
I'm actually more upset that the physical Ginyu Force, talking about an old unit, that's unusable. And, the card art, everything, it's just an incredible looking unit, but I'm actually more upset in that. But yeah, I'm surprised they did not, EZA the LR, so.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of comparing which LR I think should EZA, I think the physical one deserves it more than the tech one does, but I would personally want the tech one to EZA first, just because we need a better leader skill for the Ginyu Force team. That 100% leader skill doesn't cut it in 2021, right? So pretty much, if you want to run this team, you just run Bojack as the leader. At least that's what I do. Unfortunately, he doesn't link up with anyone on the team, so he's pretty much just floating without any single link active the entire time. So it kind of sucked. But the leader skill is just too valuable not to have. I mean, 170 across the board. Compare that to 100% across the board, and it's night and day difference.
Yeah, out of these, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that, because obviously they're EZAs, they're really good, they work really well together, obviously, but you just don't have the leader skill. But they are on a lot of categories that have the solid leads, because I tried them out with the double Bojack leads, which is good because he's a support unit, so just floating him off works well. You can use them under the new LR Frieza double leads as well, because obviously they're all on Namek Saga, and he's a very strong unit, but he ends up being in the same boat as the Bojack. He has no links with any of them. And then I think I'm pretty sure they're all on Terrifying Conquerors, so you could run double Cooler as well, but then he only supports transformation boost in events where there's single enemies, which means he won't be supporting them. So he's probably the worst option out of the three. But it is nice at least that there are a couple of teams that you can run them on where they are getting a 170 leader skill. But it definitely is a bit disappointing that they didn't Easy A the tech one, because if you want to run the actual proper, like, pure Ginyu Force team, then the LR which you need to run as the leader is now far and away, like, the worst unit on the team.
Minato, I'll ask you this one first. Which is more likely to come first? A Ginyu Goku or a physical LR Ginyu Force EZA, or a possible Dokkan Fest Ginyu Force lead?
I mean, I would say, if anything, they would probably come together, like as a Ginyu Planet Namek Saga type of celebration. It would just make the more sense because with all these LREZs specifically, they love matching their themes together. We've seen like, Broly came out with Broly, Goku and Frieza came out in Universe 7 celebration. So I would say they probably would come together rather than one over the other. But, coming off a Planet Namek Saga celebration, I think a Ginyu Dokkan Fest is definitely very likely for the next upcoming one.
Out of these 5 EZAs that we've had, because we've had time to work with all of them, we got bulks of 2 for the first 2 parts, and then we got Ginyu at the end. Are you guys able to rank these EZAs now that you've had plenty of time to see how they work? Which would be the best of the 5 Ginyu Force units EZAs?
Oh, it's gold though.
I think it depends on if you mean like just like on the Ginyu Force team or in terms of for
whatever
usage on
criteria
other
you
teams.
deem worthy. Whatever criteria you think is worthy. It could be in the dynamic of that
Yeah,
team. It could be a direct correlation between that and also how they function on other teams. Like whatever you find important in a unit.
I think in terms of the actual units themselves, like if you were going to run them all on the same team or if you were just going to run like a couple of them together on a team, I think Ginyu is probably the strongest, both offensively and defensively out of them all. But in terms of if you were going to run one of them on a random team, Jace, I think, is probably one of the better ones because he can fit into other teams as a support unit. He shows you the super attack location. And obviously, after his EZA, he's now not a complete like defensive liability. So he would be useful to run on other teams. But on the actual Ginyu team itself, I think Ginyu is probably the best. I think Raccoon is actually quite a close second because once his passive is fully built up, under those 170 lead team examples that we talked about earlier, he's getting like over a 3 million attack stat. If his guard activates, he's tanking everything for double digits. So I think he's actually really, really good as well.
I just wish we knew when his guard activated. Turn.
Yeah, that's the major issue I have with units that have a chance to guard. It's not even just to the fact that like they don't guard all the time. It's the fact that you don't know when they're guarding. And in that way, you're forced to assume every single time that they're not guarding, right? Like there's 2 layers to that sort of mechanic. Number 1 is like you don't know if they're guarding or not, and then number 2. Like, it's actually difficult to explain because they should tell you when they're guarding or if they're not guarding. And then if you would know that, you would know where to put them on the rotation. Because if you're fighting like an STR enemy with Raccoon and you know he's not guarding, you're not going to put him in slot 1. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day they should just tell you if he's guarding or not because that alleviates a lot of the problem. But because I did a run in Infinite Dragon Ball history against the Universe 7 stage with that team. And he wasn't guarding for like 5 turns in a row. And I died because he took like 3 supers.
Yeah.
So, Havohei?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Just my thoughts on the Ginyu Force, to be honest with you.
Which EZA is the best one?
I haven't EZA'd him, so I'll sit back on this one. But one thing, yeah, I know, exposed,
would
horrible.
get angry at you.
I know. Well, hey, I do want to point out what Ningen said was, with Jace and the ability to see super attacks. That's so, not talked about as much because it's so powerful, and I think with units that have that, it's so valuable, especially if you're going to do a no item run, right? So I think that's a good call there when it comes to thinking about best teams. But if you look at it on paper, because I haven't tested them yet, on paper Ginyu looks the best, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think the trade-off for the fact that you're able to see the super attacks, there's no cost for it. It's an unconditional sort of passive really increases his value. And now that he has an EZA to kind of back up his very rare ability, it does make him a lot more usable on a variety of different teams. So I agree. I feel like Jace is the best of the EZAs. But when I saw Ginyu's EZA, all I could think of was Int Super Battle Road just got just way easier for people. Because now you can throw on this Ginyu for that extra tanking.
I would say that Int Ginyu for me is the best, and it's not even like anything remotely close at all. Like he blows everyone out of the water by far.
And his damage is crazy.
He took double digits from a super type neutral in Super Battle Road for me. So,
and he seals.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that is something to note too, because they actually like Dokkan values sealing a lot. Whenever we have these units that have sealing in their kit, like usually they are gimped in some way. But it's like when this Ginyu's kit was revealed, it's like, okay, 170% attack and defense. He, gets extra 100% when you're fighting one enemy. He seals. He infinitely raises his attack. He raises his defense on super attack effect. Like his super attack effect is like legitimately top like 5 in the game or something. That all he's doing in that super attack is just ridiculous. But one other thing I will say is I really think Birder is underrated. I think Birder, I would say, is number 2 for me on the Ginyu Force team. His ability to super 3 times in slot 2 and 3 while permanently raising his defense every time he does that. He's pretty insane. I've had him be at 250k defense second time he's on rotation, and then from there he's continuing to infinitely stack his defense.
And then if you're able to put him in the first slot, you get on the Ginyu Force team, you'll have a total of 70% chance to dodge, right? So that's really good. Once he attacks, of course.
So it seems like general consensus is the worst of the EZAs is probably Guldo, correct?
Yeah, but the problem is he's not even bad. Like he's
no, he's not. He's not. It's just that I haven't heard one mention of Guldo.
I think the only reason,
the
reason
with
why
Guldo
he's
is
probably
'cause-
the worst is the fact that in the more difficult content, like you can't stun, you can't attack lower, and then he does greatly raise defense on super, but post super attack his defense isn't as high as some of the other ones. So obviously, like we said, he's not bad, but he's just probably the worst out of the 5.
I wouldn't say it's not that he can't stun or seal, because like there's still extreme super battle road. I think it's the issue that for some reason he's the only Ginyu Force character that wants a full Ginyu Force team, and the other units only want just one. While he kind of is a little more restricted to being on that team because of his passive and how it works. Though I think he gets like 90% defense total once he supers from his passive and then from his super attack effects, and he can get you through a extreme super battle road run if possible, because of his sealing and stunning. So he's still very good. I just think his reliance on the other Ginyu Force members may hold him back a little for being on other teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this team has so much to offer now for some of the end game content. It's a shame we don't have like a bona fide Ginyu Force lead to run them. I mean, yeah, as you guys mentioned, Bojack, Frieza, you have other options, but it's just not the same, Like with an EZA like this, you'd want to have a nice lead to be kind of exclusive to this team. Too bad we're gonna have to wait for that.
Yeah, I would like a leader that shares at least one link with one of the 6 other units in my team. That'd be cool.
Imagine, right? Imagine.
This is still a great power up for free to play players, though. So
for sure.
100%. I think if you're a new player in this game, the first thing you should focus on is doing the Ginyu Force team.
Absolutely. If
That's
you're
the
starting
first thing
out,
you should do. Yeah.
I am proud to say that when I started playing back during the 250 million, that is the first thing that I did. And my very first team that I used to run through events was the Ginyu Force.
Yeah, because back then they were actually still fairly new.
Yeah.
And they were you could literally clear like almost every single event in the game with them back then.
Yep.
And I still tell people, especially if they're low to play or free to play, just use the Ginyu Force or Team Bardock for that first stage of Battlefield, right? So just to not have to waste a mono team.
Yep.
And also just the process of putting that team together is going to keep you busy as a new player. Like you have a lot to do. Just saying to get the Ginyu Force team is not enough, because then if you want to EZA them, you need the Bardock team to do that. So there's a lot of content right there just on the Ginyu Force team to do. So new players, they're going to be keeping themselves quite occupied.
there's one more thing I wanted to note, just in general. There's actually the mission, and there you can also get the equipment for the Ginyu Force as well through that Grand Priest event, and you are able to get 5 Grand Kais of each type by completing that event in a certain amount of time. So you could SA-15 them for free with those Kais, or you could farm up a second copy and keep those Kais for free, which will be very helpful for free-to-play players as well.
See, Dokkaning responsibly, folks. It's a lifestyle. All right, let's move on to some of the other EZAs that we got in Part 3. We got Zarbon, Dodoria, Krillin, Vegeta, and the old Year 3 Goku. So out of the 3, is there any one that really stands out to you guys? Out of those 3, is one just absolutely 10 times better than the rest, or are they all kind of just equally pretty nice?
I won't say it's 10 times.
I would say the Goku and Krillin and Vegeta are like even-ish. The Zarbon and the Dodoria is not as good as the other two, in my opinion. It's weird design, because like they want to be super battle road, but they want to build up, and they take like 14 turns to build up. I don't like how the unit is designed. You can get them to work, probably. It's not like they're like, the worst thing ever, but I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah, one thing about the Zarbon and Dodoria is that they're a support for Space Traveling Warriors, but that team doesn't really need much support. So not sure why they ended up actually choosing that as a support benefit versus, a multitude of other options for that. But I love that physical Goku getting an EZA. I kind of predicted that in the beginning, saying, hey, you know what, they should do something with this unit since, it is a, iconic moment for him during the travel. And it's good to see free-to-play players and other people actually just using this unit. So I agree there with the physical Goku.
I actually just got the Zarbon and the Dodoria to Link level 10, right when I was trashing on them.
I decided not to waste my time, because when the way Toon posed the question, I was going to say the one that stands out to me is Zarbon and Dodoria for how terrible they are.
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah, if we talk about every single unit that came out during this celebration, everyone has their own opinions on how good they are, how well they were designed, because obviously there was a lot of discussion with like the LRs maybe not having the most interesting design, like the Part 2 ones. But the Zarbon and Dodoria are just kind of in their own class of like being badly designed, because they want to be run with a Frieza. It's the curse of extreme tech. Yeah, they want to be run with a Frieza, but I think the best Frieza that they can link up with, they have 2 links with him. They obviously support Space Traveling Warriors because most of the Friezas are on Space Traveling Warriors, although not all of them. But like Minato said, like they take ages to build up. It just seemed like such an odd unit, because some teams, like maybe you could use them as a Space Traveling Warriors support unit, like Havohei was saying, but then you're going to have them in slot 3, off rotation, like even a slightly longer event. By the time you finish the event, they're not even going to be fully built up. So they sort of seem to me like one of those really old meta like support units where you don't even really want to run them in harder content because they're just not going to be good enough defensively. We've all had those runs where, your support unit in slot 3 is the one that takes a super at the end of the legendary Goku event. And they're just not a unit that you want to be in that situation. So I'm very disappointed with them. Obviously we all talked about even on the previous episodes how pre-EZA they were all kind of mid, and we were just waiting to see what they would finally end up looking like. And the Vegeta and Krillin definitely got a very solid upgrade because they were pretty bad before the EZA. Goku is very old because obviously he was originally available before, so he really needed the EZA. But yeah, the Zarbon and Dodoria, I just don't really know what they were thinking with them, and it's kind of a shame because even though they're not obviously the most popular characters in the world, now that we finally had another proper full-on Namek Saga celebration, we did kind of want them to have a good card representation in the game, and unfortunately, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And what's unfortunate about... Oh, go ahead, Goresh.
I was just going to say, I think you have a better chance of seeing the Year 5 blue fusions get to their max potential before the Zarbon and Dodoria does. Because technically, because they have to attack 7 times to get to their max potential, they have no additionals built in. Assuming you're floating them, that is going to take, 20 turns to get them fully built up if they're a floater, which that's what they're designed to be, a floater pretty much, because they don't have any links with the rest of the team almost. So I'm super, super sure that at some point in the design process of this unit, they at some point had additionals built into their kit, and then for whatever reason they changed the design, but then they like didn't change like the rate at which they built up their stats, and it's just very, very off.
Weren't there rumors that this was supposed to be an LR?
I think there was initially, but but the whole thing is like they didn't have LR potential systems, so it's like I don't think that ever really.
I saw people talking about that, but wasn't it because the Zarbon, when he didn't even have a TUR yet, the story event where you could farm the SSR Zarbon came out at the same time as the other story event where you could farm the physical Goku. So I think when those came out, it was pretty obvious that they were going to eventually easy A. So I think people just want to see like things like that, like the free-to-play LR. Because I did see some people tweeting about that, but I couldn't really trace like a credible source of where this idea had come from. Because like Goresh said, they didn't have like the LR hidden potential setup or anything. So I'm not too sure where that came from.
Well, it seems like they sure need it. So
and then the other thing about this unit too is that if you directly compare them to the Tien and Roshi from the 6-year anniversary, they only give 30% support to the category they're supporting, the Space Traveling Warriors category, whereas Tien and Roshi are giving 40% to Reps Universe 7. So I'm just trying to figure out like why they went a little bit lower on the support, because guess what? Bojack, the leader, already gives 30% as a baseline to the team. Mm-hmm. So why do you need another unit giving the same buff when they're just straight up worse?
Space Traveling Warriors, there's a ton of support. Like, so many support.
Yeah. Because that team also is going to get on global, about to get Garlic Jr. as well.
Garlic Jr. Absolutely.
Fits under the time traveler portion of the leader skill. So
because we didn't get a free to play Namek Saga support, right? We didn't get a free to play one. For Namek Saga, right? So.
It's the whole. That's a whole nother topic we could discuss. But the whole Namek Saga team, I really think, did not fare as well, even close to as well as the Majin Buu Saga did last year. Because that team got insane support in terms of like how many units were coming out, and like really well designed units too.
Plus,
so this year, like
we're still even getting easy A's for that category even now.
Yeah, like we're getting Zarbon and Dodoria, who like don't even help the team. I will say though, in terms of like these 3 easy A's, the unit that has impressed me the most by far is Krillin and Vegeta. If you get that Vegeta out, he is pretty ridiculous. That Vegeta's hitting like 4.5 million attack stats with like 300k defense, and he's doing additionals, and he's infinitely raising his attack and defense every turn. Like that Vegeta is easily summonable level. Like if that Vegeta came out as like a Dokkan Fest exclusive, I don't even think I would be that surprised. That's how good he is.
But yeah, it's funny that you say that comparison, because if you think about, obviously comparing it to the Majin Buu Saga team from last year, but if you think about from like a global player, obviously we've come not that long away from the anniversary. And you think about how like the anniversary was all themed around the Reps of Universe 7 team. And now once the anniversary was finished, like how stacked that team is if you want to run like that pure category team. And I kind of feel like the Namek Saga team is just not in the same place. Like, I mean, because obviously the new Frieza, you can run a sort of very extreme sort of centric Namek Saga team. And there's obviously a lot of new, very powerful units that have a lot of synergy. But like, with the STR Namek Goku not getting an easy A and the new Goku obviously not having that leader skill, the super type Namek Saga team is still like really bare bones, I think, which is a little bit unfortunate.
That's the missing link of the team, is that Goku. That's why I was pushing so hard for that STR Goku to get an easy A, because he is the optimal lead for that Namek Saga team. I love Frieza. Like he's my favorite unit probably right now. He's not a good leader for the Namek Saga. I'm sorry, he just is. He's not a good leader. That Namek Goku would have been much better, because actually with him as the leader, you could mix and match extreme and super class units on that team if you wanted to. He would make a lot of the new units that just came out, the 2 LRs from the TOP banner, the Top Legendary Summon banner, Vegeta, Goku, and then the Krillin and Gohan. They would work so much better with that Namek Goku as the leader. With the link set that he has, that would make that team way better. So it just seems weird to me that they ended up like shafting the Namek Saga when it was the whole point of the celebration. So I don't know.
What's also unfortunate about this Zarbon is the fact that he already got his easy A, so there's no hope of any sort of an update or a change to happen in the future. And that speaks to probably a larger problem that a lot of people might feel, is that with these EZAs that they do, most of them are good, but it also seems like they might be potentially rushing some of these EZAs for units that don't even have a TUR yet. Like they'll bring out the Awakened version, and then they'll do an Extreme Z Awakening all in the same campaign. Do you guys feel like it's more appropriate for them to allow the first Awakening, the TUR, to breathe for a bit and then explore the possibility of an EZA down the road? Or do you think the way that they're running that right now is perfectly fine?
I mean, the point of an EZA originally is supposed to be to make a unit that's fallen out of, like, being good, to awaken them again and make them good again, usable again after, like, a long time. So I personally do not like free-to-play units getting an EZA like that, especially if they turn out to not really be that fantastic like the Zarbon and Dodoria did, because unlike other free-to-play units or other units released in the future, those other units will have the potential to become good again, while this Zarbon and Dodoria, for example, or any other unit that could EZA and may not be that great, will never have that opportunity, which is very unfortunate. Like, think of like LR Roshi, in like 2-3 years, if the game's still going on that long, he could end up, you know, falling off a little and he won't have the chance to EZA like another free-to-play LR or something.
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about on here quite a lot, because it's something that they seem to be very married to doing now with these new free-to-play units. And I can kind of see both sides of the argument, because I think it's stupid to do it. I do agree that, like, the units should just come out as a TUR that is good, and then at some point in the future they could EZA them. But I guess it doesn't matter as much because they are free-to-play farmable units, so not necessarily that they'll make, like, if we use Zarbon and Dodoria as an example, they're not necessarily going to make a new Zarbon and Dodoria card like a year from now, but because they are a free-to-play farmable card, if they're just releasing a card that is an extreme Namek Saga unit, rather than making it a TUR that's really good, and then in 18 months' time, they give them an EZA, it's just a case of, in 18 months' time, they'll just make another new free-to-play Namek Saga unit. And so because they're free to, like, fully farm up and not summonable, I don't think it's as much of an issue that they just replace them rather than EZAing them. But it just feels weird because, like Minato said, kind of the whole point of an EZA and the reason why people were hyped about them when they first came out was because the whole point was supposed to be to take an old unit and make it good again. So it does seem weird to give them out to new units straight away.
Well, I have a different view on it. Just I see it as for free-to-play players as more content, right? So it's for them to do more in the game because it's pretty easy just to get the TUR, and then it's also a Zenny sync for, you know, for a lot of us players that are, you know, that are whales that have tons of Zenny. But I think it's good for the free-to-play player just to having more things to do. But who knows what happens in like version Z if they're gonna, you know, do another upgrade for these units or could totally change it in the future. But I think it's a good thing just because it's more to do for players.
Any other thoughts on any of the EZAs that we have had throughout the entirety of the celebration? Nope. All right. Let's move on to everyone's favorite topic of discussion, that is Chain Battle.
Yes, finally.
Chain Battle is
This
coming
what
up.
we've been waiting for.
Oh yeah. This is going to be yet another chain battle that Global and JP get to experience simultaneously. And we were given a sneak peek in the in-game news regarding the categories that will be relevant to this chain battle. So I'll ask you guys, either ironically or unironically, does this make you like chain battle a little bit more? We'll start with Ningen because he is the advocate for chain battle. So we'll start with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Chat, you can let me know. The other panelists might know. I'm not actually sure, but I think I have mentioned before that I'm not a big fan of Chain Battle. So I do think it's interesting that they showed off this information a little bit earlier, but I mean, maybe it is just a side product of me not caring about the mode because I don't really like it. But to me, I don't really care knowing what the information is this early, because obviously the day the Chain Battle comes out, I load it up for the first time. I see what the special categories are. I go straight into the like leaderboard to look and see what the top scoring people have been using, and then I go in and set my units. So for me, knowing exactly what units I should be using like a week or so before doesn't really bother me that much. I know there are a lot of people out there that like have their teams already set, and those are the people that, you know, they're the good ones that you want to find on your friends list, the ones that are keeping all the spare copies of like the URs and stuff like that. But I'm not too fussed about it, to be honest. You know, memes aside, I still do not like the mode. The only thing I am very interested to see, because I don't know if they did mention it in the news thing for Global, but is whether are we getting that
Yes,
upgraded
we
reward
are.
thing? We are, aren't we? Yeah. So that's the only thing about it that does interest me, is the because when JP got that upgrade, I think that was a significant boost to how good actually doing the chain battle is, because the rewards are a lot better.
I would say when it comes to showing the actual details a week before, it may help some players in regards to, you know, being able to set their units up. It'll help, you know, the community in general being able to, if they didn't like, you know, farm up a rainbow or a unit or something like that, they can get that unit ready, especially if they're special characters, and possibly make the friends that you find on the list more prepared and available ahead of time, especially on the first day. But I personally, again, I don't really like the mode that much. I think the rewards are really good though, and that's probably the reason why everyone else really does play it, because the rewards are pretty good. But outside of that, it's like, it's not really like, you know, the greatest thing ever. I'm kind of like on it, like 50-50.
Hey man, I just watched Toon and Goresh's video before I do this mode anyway, so it doesn't matter if it came out a week early, right? So, but yeah, this mode is it's a thorn, you know, because you still want to, you know, get the rewards and get some of it on there, but yeah, it's just the gameplay of it. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Just use Toon as a test dummy. Just go, yeah, try this. You know, see what happens.
I was gonna say
that's absolutely what he does. He pretends to be like, let's try this out, when in reality he already knows, but he wants me to waste my runs on that just to confirm any doubt, and then he'll first try destroy my score.
Well, it
Every
saves
time.
me from having to use my tries, right? Because you can use yours.
Oh, we can't curse on podcasts. Okay. Will this be the toughest chain battle yet, given the fact, as Minato mentioned, we've been given about a week now to prepare. So not just the newer players, but also, you know, the APT guys, the ones who put more effort into, you know, doing the math or the science behind chain battle, with everyone kind of knowing a little bit more ahead of time. Do you think that it's going to be a little bit tougher this time around to work your way into the top 1%?
I don't know about tougher. I mean, it's just gonna be what, Piccolos and then like freezes. Hey, this is like the calling of Tech Piccolo. Finally has a use.
Yeah.
Chain
Oh
battle.
my goodness.
You summoned him for a reason.
I'm so glad I pulled him now. Let's go. No, I
don't
will
think it'd be
say
like that difficult though.
I think
top
my
one.
favorite thing about Chain Battle is still every single time just waiting, keeping my eye on Twitter so I can see when Toon posts his tweet about getting a good score, and then Goresh has obviously been lurking like that meme of Jim looking through the office window shutters,
Yeah.
and then straight away in comes Goresh with that post of a higher score than Toon's score.
I'll never forget. There was
Quote retreat.
yeah, I'll never forget. There was one tweet that I sent out. The notification saying tweet has been sent didn't even leave my screen, and Goresh replied with his score. So it was like a fraction of a second after I posted my tweet, he one-ups me.
He knows.
He knows.
I gotta set my
That's
notifications on during the chain battle duration.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So any other thoughts on this amazing, incredible, optimal event, Chain Battle?
It makes me miss Battlefield version 1. For those who remember playing that
I'm
mode.
so sad I was not a part of that, dude.
I played that mode. It was pretty cool, honestly.
The-
It was like
the
kind of a
only
little
thing,
confusing, but
The only thing I remember about that mode is Kami was like a dynamo. He was like destroying everybody.
I love the fact
All I
now that
remember
we've had,
is thinking,
we've had two guests on now that are OG players that have brought up the original Battlefield. Love to see it.
It was so different. It was great because it was different and in a good way,
It really
right?
was,
Versus
yeah.
this mode, it's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
What
I just
do we
wish
know
we had more
exactly
playtime.
why it was scrapped? Like, what about it was so unappealing that they had to scrap the whole thing?
I think-
too difficult to upkeep.
I guess
General
a lot of
feedback.
people like it.
A lot of people complained about, I think, the difficulty and also the rewards were not that good. So guess what? Instead of adjusting things and taking feedback and doing things that would help the mode, they just said okay, and they just deleted it.
Okay, so with everybody complaining about chain battle, why haven't they deleted chain battle?
Because they probably don't care at this point. Like whatever.
I mean, yeah.
I
Does the
I
JP
saw that and I
player
thought
base
to
really complain
myself,
about chain battle.
what?
You know? Goresh, does the JP player base, like, do you see like any complaints about chain battle at all?
Definitely not as bad as the global side, but people still complain about it, I guess. I mean, I think the JP players more so take the angle that it's just like we don't understand it, but we're just gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
So
I guess with the original Battlefield, it was because it was so active, you had to keep track of all your characters versus when you're looking at Dokkan in general, it's a very casual type game, right? So, you pick your characters, boom, done. You don't have to do really anything, pop some bubbles here and there and orbs, and that's it. But with Battlefield 1, you're like, oh my God, this guy was over here. I have to move this guy over here. I thought it was a great time. So anyway.
Yeah, it was like a Dokkan tower defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was much more interactive.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been looking for when we ask for like new game modes, is more like a different way to play the game. Whereas chain battle is almost like you're playing it even less than normal Dokkan, because you're just picking your team and then picking the 3 units in the middle. You're not even doing the actual like bubble popping, I guess, for lack of a better term. Whereas at least the original Battlefield was actually a different type of game mode completely.
I think if Battlefield 1.0 had come out like this year in Dokkan, it would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the final topic of today's show, and that is the 350 million download celebration overall. So a lot of people, myself included, I find that this was the best celebration of all time for Dokkan, but I just want to get your guys' thoughts overall on the entire thing. What were some of the best parts of it, some of the worst parts of it, and just discussing your overall experience with Dokkan up to this point. So Goresh, we'll start with you.
So I'm very biased because the Namek Saga is like by far my favorite saga in all of Dragon Ball, and Frieza's my favorite villain, and my favorite version of Goku is Namek Super Saiyan Goku. So I love the celebration a lot. Objectively speaking, if we take a look at the stone count, at the end of the celebration, assuming the Bulma event does go until the last day, we actually will be getting more stones in total than we did for the 6th year anniversary, which I think most people would consider to be the best celebration up to this point. So we're getting more stones in the celebration. I think overall we are getting technically more easy A's in the celebration than we did in the anniversary as well, because of the Ginyu Force helps that a lot. So I mean, there's a lot of similarities between this and that. We got a new difficult event, collection of epic battles. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff to do. New support memories, new story events. We got 3 new story events. So no shortage of content here. I think the quality of unit, free to play, mostly speaking here, I think the 6th year anniversary probably does edge this one out a little bit. I think in terms of easy A quality, in terms of summonable units, this celebration probably edges out the anniversary. The Transforming Goku and Frieza probably just are you're comparing them to UI Goku. 2 is better than 1, right? And then we're gonna get the Bardock. We just got the Bardock Easy A. I don't know, it's tough. If you want to say this one is better than the anniversary, I'm okay with that. If you want to say the anniversary is better than this one, I'm okay with that as well. I think me personally, being just a Namek fanboy, I definitely like this one over the anniversary, just for the theme. There's 2 ways I would have improved the celebration, though. Number one, I'm not a hater on physical Bardock, but I think it would have been way better for the celebration as a whole and for all the units that released during the celebration if they just easy-a'd the STR Namek Goku. And then number 2 is to easy-a one of the Ginyu Force LRs, and that would have helped that team out a lot too. And we really went an entire Namek celebration without a Monster Zarbon again.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
I don't know when they're going to do that.
One thing to think about is that I believe this is the first celebration to have 3 Extreme Z battles, so like 3 30 stone Easy A's. I think this is the first celebration to ever have 3 of them, so that's pretty cool. I think something that they could have probably added that they didn't add is the rainbow tickets that we got for 6th anniversary, and then Tanabata and JP. I think it wouldn't have like hurt to add those rainbow tickets there just for free summons on the side. Would have helped push the celebration a little up higher, if you want to compare it directly to the actual 6th anniversary, but I think both are really good. I actually do agree with Goresh in terms of I actually personally love the Namek Saga. It's one of my favorites. I love Namek Super Saiyan Goku. I've been waiting for him for such a long time, so personally it's probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite celebration so far. But objectively speaking, it's a very, very solid celebration with many stones given out.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely one of the most generous celebrations that we've seen in a while. And I do agree with the overall, like, the general point of Goresh's opinion about the Easy A, because as much as I love Bardock and I'm really happy that he got an Easy A, like I said before when we were talking about him, at least as a global player, I don't feel like he can be used in his optimal setting just yet. And obviously an Easy A for Namek Goku would definitely have not only made more sense, because really the only tie-in for Bardock is the fact that they made the Frieza and Bardock win-lose cards. So I think it definitely would have been not only more fitting to the celebration, but just better for the Namek Saga team overall, for them to have given him an Easy A instead. But yeah, we got a lot of new modes, very generous with the amount of stones that was given out. The only thing that is a downside for me, because we all know it's my favorite mode in the game, still no Super Battle Road stages for Global. We've been waiting, I don't even know how long now, since the last ones came out. They could have quite easily given us the next set of ones that we were missing and then given JP a new set to keep it fair, or they could have just given the 10 to Global. I wouldn't complain about that, but other than that, definitely a good celebration overall.
We're about to get those in the next celebration with Kid Gohan. That's probably why they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Havohei?
Well, for me, I'm sour on this celebration due to the fact I had to spend 3,250 Dragon Stones for one copy of Super Saiyan, LR Goku. But besides that, content-wise, I think this was a solid celebration. I actually liked 6-year anniversary better just because it seemed like everything was more, I guess, just cohesive when it came to Representative Universe 7 and even just Universal Survivor Saga. Whereas this. I think they could have done a few things a little bit better, like we mentioned all these, right? LRing the Ginyu Goku or something of that nature. Just these little extra things they could have done to make this celebration even like the best one so far. And but overall, still really, really good.
I'll talk about some of the things that we didn't really mention just now. I'll be brief. My favorite thing about this, not factoring in the stuff you guys mentioned. What?
Is your favorite thing the Guru event?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fine. So we'll start with the thing I hate the most. I hated the Guru event. That stupid thing was a scam, and I don't understand why people aren't seeing it from my point of view. So let me just clarify, all right? You do any event in Dokkan, and you bring in units with level 1, level 2, level 3 links, you're likely to get some link level ups anyway just by doing those events. So for me, the point of the Guru event was to have a little bit more of an easier time leveling up your units with higher links. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can count on a single hand the number of link levels I got during the entirety of the Guru event, and that is 4. I got 4 links. I think 2 of them were level 7s. One was a level 10, and another was like a level 6 or something like that. But for the most part, I did not get any link level ups during this event because I brought the units that needed the link level up, and it completely failed me. Now, salt aside, I will say I loved the music that they brought into Dokkan during this celebration, and I think my favorite moment of all is probably the Vegeta active skill. I think they did a fantastic job in executing the LR Vegeta's active skill and supplementing that with such a great OST to go with it. The only thing, though, is I feel really shortchanged that they couldn't do something similar for Super Saiyan Goku's speech. I know it's a support memory, so they can't add any sort of voiceover, but that is like one of the most iconic moments in Dragon Ball that it just feels, it just feels like something's missing just by not having some sort of a voiceover for that. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
The power level 530,000 scene is literally my favorite scene of all time, and it's not voiced. It's a support memory.
I really feel like support memories should be voice. Like they've started doing it for super attacks now. It's not, a huge amount of things in the game. I definitely feel like they should be voiced going forward at some point.
That'd be great if they just went back and added voices for all
Extreme
the
Z support memories. Imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Any other thoughts on the celebration overall? Anything at all you guys want to mention?
Well, are you ready for the Guru event to return and be once a week?
Ugh.
Or how about not at all? Because they never even said it was returning.
Did they really not?
Oh, wait, didn't the Whis event go away and then just return the next?
Yeah, the
celebration?
Whis event was daily,
yeah,
and then
but
it became a Sunday thing.
The Whis event, they said it was coming back. This one didn't say it.
I guess people just assumed.
I'd rather they have specific categories get a boost of link leveling on certain celebrations than a Guru event. I wish they would do something like that, like playing Namek Saga, units during this time will get a better chance of link leveling during the celebration. So, I don't know. Hopefully they do something like that.
Yeah, because it's something that we talked about a long time ago. Like we got questions before on older episodes of the podcast about do we think they'll ever make an event that will make link leveling super easy? And I think it was Goresh that brought it up the first time. It was it's not something that they put into place for you to speed grind like we all do so we can do the showcases and stuff. So the fact that they did actually make an event that was supposed to make it easier was kind of cool, but it was just super underwhelming that it just wasn't anywhere near what any of us expected, because it was just a very small percentage chance for you to get that link level raise. I think if it was going to be something that you could only do once a day, I don't think it would have been super OP to make it so that even say 50% of the units that you bring get one link go up guaranteed, so then you could use it to try and finish off a bunch of units that only had one link left to go to 10. I don't think that would be game breaking in any way, shape or form. So yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that I was in the same boat as you. I think for the first 4 or 5 days, I got 1 or 2 links go up. So definitely would have been nice for it to be better. So if it comes back in the future at some point, it would be nice if it was buffed considerably. Otherwise, it's just not worth doing.
What if it came back and it was you could only do it once a week, but then you get a guaranteed link level for one of your units? So you just bring a bunch of units at 9, and then you get.
If it's once a week, make it once a week, and just make it every single unit on the team gets at one link is guaranteed to go up. Now, obviously, if you've got a unit that's got 5 links at level 9, but they still have one that's at level 4, maybe it'll be the level 4 one that goes up, and you just get unlucky. But just make it so that every unit on the team gets at least one. Well, just one. Sorry, not at least. Every unit on the team gets one link that guaranteed goes up by 1. Because if it's once a week, you're not getting a huge amount of utility out of it. So I don't think that would be OP at all.
I'll also say a big shout out to AGL Nail for finally having a purpose in the game for running the collection of epic battles. It was really fun to run SSR and TUR Nail against Frieza. Felt really good. Any other thoughts on the celebration overall? All right. With that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. But when we come back, we will be answering your questions in the chat. Don't go away. Be right back.
Hey guys, it's me, Dr. Phil.
Because I love it. It's awesome, but it takes so long. It's like 20 plus seconds.
Oh, you brought Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta,
the
okay.
Angel Super Saiyan 2.
Angel.
But
the physical
the
one.
Fizz one,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so you get to watch the episode basically then. I got a chance to catch up here.
Yeah, so that might have been a stupid idea.
And yeah, with that being said, Bojack comes in at number 4. We move on to his original form, let's call it that, I suppose, in STR Cooler, who comes in at Ace up.
Not the 4 or 5.
Face first. Let's go.
I'm crushing this man. Goresh. Well, okay.
Look, boys.
I got Beerus in the waist! Oh my god!
Well, while you do that, let's just talk about our individual builds here. So,
I think it was Truth versus Toon. That was the biggest one.
Second was me and Sun.
And then the second biggest one was me over Talon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I figured that one.
I hate this guy.
Let's see if we can pull through with a fire one. So Vegeta is on screen. Oh my god!
Oh, there you go. Two.
Goresh, you're evil.
How about 3?
Yeah, Goresh, do you know anything about that happening?
No.
No?
How many you have? First you did.
All right, give him a second one. So it's.
So truth, what, like 5,000 stones?
Dude, I have no idea. But I checked my red coins at the start of my summoning stream, so.
Okay.
It's 18,000 something.
Oh no. That is not what they wanted.
All right, third one. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for waiting. Thanks for coming by and checking out the new channel as well as the new series that we have. This is 59 Gaming. Appreciate you being here.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to start answering some of your questions in the chat. But first, before we do, a little bit of housekeeping. Goresh, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't see the announcements over on the social media accounts that we have, we ended up going with a bunch of different changes for our YouTube platforms. For the 1 year anniversary, we actually decided to split up a lot of our content across different channels. So now we have a total of 6 YouTube channels. We have 59 Gaming Mobile, which is just our mobile gaming channel. We have 59 Gaming Direct, which is gaming news related. We have 59 Gaming Entertainment, or I guess technically it's just called 59 Entertainment, which is basically just like manga, anime, movies, TV shows, that sort of form of media, reviews, thoughts, stuff like that. Just videos covering those topics. We have 59 Gaming Shorts, which is basically just any sort of like 1 minute or shorter clips that we have from the either YouTube videos, Twitch, whatever, even like live vlog style shorts. We have 59 Gaming Uncut, which is literally just all of our Twitch VODs ported over to that channel. And then we have 59 Gaming Plays, which is pretty much just games that we're playing over on Twitch that are, instead of having the entire thing ported over to that channel, they're edited down into 10, 15, 20-minute blocks that are more concise and digestible for a typical YouTube video. So Linktree should be linked in the chat there. So if you guys are interested in checking out the different channels that we have now, I would recommend you click on that, and it should be easily accessible from that link. So your support is appreciated, and thank you for 1 year.
Think of it like for 1 year, we're releasing a bunch of free DLC. Definitely don't want to miss any of it.
True.
Yep.
All right. So now, with that said, we're going to jump into some of your questions in the chat. We'll start with our very first question. When do you lads think we'll finally get an LR merged Zamasu?
I mean,
something I'm kind of
another
looking
Vegeta
forward
Blue.
to.
I think Year 7 has a really good chance of being the blue fusions again, so maybe we'll see one there.
Yeah, because the Future Saga has not had any buffs for like a significant amount of time, so that's something that we definitely need. Like, I'm really looking forward to now that we're basically done. Obviously not yet on global because they haven't all come out, but now that we're done with the 120 lead Easy Ace, STR Rose and Tech Vegito Blue should be hopefully coming sometime soon. I'm hoping that maybe we'll get lucky again this time around and there'll be global firsts, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that team needs some huge buffs. So an LR Mode Zamasu would definitely be something I'm hoping for. Hopefully it's not the half purple goo version, because I hate that one, but I think the actual normal design of Mode Zamasu is very cool, so I would love to see that.
Oh my god, it's Ivan Ooze.
One thing to consider about that is the LR EZAs that are upcoming. We're definitely going to see like physical Trunks and Goku Black and Zamasu soon. Again, I said this earlier, I think, but LR EZAs usually do match with the theme of the celebration that's going on there. So if we get Tech Goku Black Zamasu EZA upcoming, Esther Rose's EZA upcoming, we could definitely see more Future Saga content released to help lead to a potential, Future Saga theme for year 7. That could definitely be something that happens. So, LR Merge Zamasu may not be that far off. You could even come in that celebration with the LR Goku Black and Zamasu EZA or something. You never know. I
would love to see it in New Year's, right? You have a dual Dokkan Fest, another, Rose and a Vegeta Blue, while they, of course, EZA the other TURs, and then a non-featured LR Merge Zamasu. That, and once again, not corrupted, right? Just the regular Merge Zamasu, not corrupted. Yeah, the Halo one. So
we need.
I would love to
Zamasu.
see it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
No, that could be a support memory.
I was going to say, I could see that being a support memory, I guess, but let's leave that out completely because, the ending of that arc was not great.
What, you don't like that he became this guy?
I do not know.
Okay.
You don't like Future Zeno?
Yeah.
All right, we got another question. Since they are updating the tutorial in version Z and the tutorial runs through the quest mode, do you think they might be preparing a revamp or a new version of the quest mode to align with the tutorial changes? Awesome.
Why don't you answer?
I'm the host.
What do you think?
I was waiting. I went first last. I went
You
first
answer the
last time,
question.
so I was waiting. I want to
Go ahead.
hear Goresh's thoughts on this subject.
Yeah, Goresh, I know you have a lot to say about this. Go ahead.
You love the quest mode.
Yeah. I think if they were thinking about updating the quest mode, then they would have done it already.
I don't think they care.
I don't see. Well, I was about to say I don't see a reason why they would update it. Like, what did they get from it?
Whatever version Z is going to be, that's going to be the overhaul for.
Yeah, because I mean, so this obviously the question comes from, was it like a single screenshot that we got to see that was from the new, like what the new tutorial is going to look like, and it's very clearly like a different stage from the like first stage of the quest mode. The HUD looks slightly different. Obviously, we don't really know any details about it. I could see it almost being like a separate event that you just go into rather than it being a revamp of the quest mode. I mean, we've talked about quest mode before, and I've definitely said this before, but I feel like the quest mode is probably never going to get a revamp or even get new stages because they've kind of shifted the way they do like story event content, because obviously back in the day when quest mode stages were being released, if we got a story event, they were nothing like the ones that we get now. There would be like 3 stages or 4 stages. There wasn't a farmable unit, any of that kind of stuff. Whereas now every celebration brings at least one and sometimes multiple of these story events that have like 8 to 10 stages. There's a farmable unit, there's farmable medals to awaken them. So I feel like they're doing that instead of releasing new quest modes. They're just releasing more of these like story events. And as somebody in the chat said, like no one cares about the quest mode except for when it's 4 times XP and it's time to start grinding some ranks, or just by playing 23-8 over and over again to grind your link levels. So I mean, it would be nice if they added some new stages and there was one that was the equivalent of like 23-8 where it had a load of fights, obviously was therefore, because it's higher up the chain of the story list, it would have more rank XP as a reward, so I guess it would become the new optimal link level stage. But other than that, I don't really see much of a reason for them to do it, because like I said, they just keep giving us all these like free to play story events. So
I think the only way the only reason they would update the story event or the quest mode is to literally just finish the story. Like that's all they do.
The story's so all over the place as well. I don't understand.
I mean, I agree. I think it's a really terribly written story, but it's literally just been unfinished for 4 years in the same spot. So it would just, it would make more sense just to wrap it up, and then that's the end of that, right? And then that's it.
Or I would have loved to see, Dokkan take a little thing from Legends and maybe create a original story, right? And add that into a separate quest. That'd be at least interesting enough.
Yeah, I feel like
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, because
that's what it's supposed to be, an original story, but it's just so bad that nobody cares.
Oh, it is an original story? I don't even
it's
care.
Kind of like an original. It's kind of like an original story, but I noticed this when I first started playing the game. Is it very much has that copy-paste storyline structure that a lot of recent Dragon Ball games have had, and I guess even to an extent like Heroes, although a lot of that is mostly just promotional for the actual arcade game. But they always have this like shell of a story where it's, oh look, all the different universes have all collided together somehow, so characters that have never really interacted are in the same place. And that's kind of all the story really is. Because I think I've talked about this before in a previous episode, but when the last quest stage, before it did get another update, it was one where you fought the Super Saiyan Broly as like the final enemy. And I think there were like 3 stages in that chapter. And at the end, there was some massive explosion and you and Trunks got separated from whoever you were with at the time in the story. I can't remember. And then they finally brought out new story mode stages and you were just off somewhere else and all the enemies in that first chapter were now androids. So it was like completely disjointed from what was happening in the previous chapter. So if you're someone out there that has even followed the story from the quest mode, I salute you because I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, I play JP and obviously can't read it, so I actually had no chance to understand what's happening. So I never cared. I just kind of went through it. And I was like, okay.
It's because of Dokkan Story Mode that I learned about the whole scenario on and off button, and I'm very thankful. I've had scenario off since then. It's been great.
There you go.
All right, we're going to wrap up with one final question for you guys. So whichever one you want to answer, go ahead. What do you think the theme of either the 7-year anniversary or the next download celebration is going to be? Whichever one you want to answer, go ahead.
I mean, I did say it, but I think the 7th anniversary will be fusions again, probably Vegeta Blue, Gogeta Blue, something movies related. They've been building up movies, maybe Gogeta Blue and Broly. Something similar, I think something related to the fusions that would make the most sense for me, given their previous pattern they've really set down.
I would like to see Gogeta Blue and movie Broly because we don't have many of those units and it's incredible that we don't, right? So they need a definitely upgrade, so I love to see that in the 7 year.
Because I saw someone posted on Twitter actually the fact that apart from the first anniversary that was Gogeta and Janemba, they've been alternating every single anniversary between Goku and Vegeta and Gogeta and Vegito, so it would be nice if it was something different this time around. A couple of the dual Dokkan Fest ideas spring to mind, like Havohei said, actually getting like cards that start off as Blue Gogeta and then Full Power Broly from the movie would obviously be awesome. I think they're like hype enough to be anniversary dual Dokkan Fest units, but I could almost see them being more of like a TUR, like, like a New Year celebration dual Dokkan Fest or something. We just got GT again this year because I know everyone's been waiting for a newer version of like the Super Saiyan 4s that fuse into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and then like Sin Shenron who transforms into Omega. I still think that could be something that we see because it was every 2 years we were getting a GT themed anniversary and then we didn't get that this year. So that's something that could definitely still be in the pipeline. I mean, if I could pick anything I want, like I really want them to start doing more and more of the like what if Heroes stuff, but I mean, let's be honest, that's never going to be like an anniversary theme, so who knows.
I mean, if I could pick something I want Goku versus Piccolo. That's something I could pick that I want, but World's Strongest, you said, Goresh, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say World's Strongest movie. Yeah, the movie.
That makes sense. I would love that.
Yep.
LR Dr. Wheeler.
I don't know if I want to have to wait till then, but if we're doing another download celebration prediction, I'd like it to be Saiyan Saga, but I also don't want to have to wait till that point to start exploring the Saiyan Saga.
I am going to say that next download celebration is going to be Kid Buu versus Super Saiyan 3 Goku.
I think New Year's could be Saiyan Saga.
Kid Buu cannot evade us forever. He's coming at some point, right?
Want to bet?
One day.
Yeah, how many of these random characters are going to get LRs before Kid Buu? You hate to see it.
All right, and with that, we are going to go ahead and wrap up this week's show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Huge thank you to Troco for manning the boards and keeping the stream afloat. Don't forget to follow us over on Twitch, Twitter, check out the Discord, the Reddit, the Facebook, everything, all of our new channels, and fully connect with the 59G network today. And if you miss any part of the show, don't worry, all of your favorite podcasting platforms have you covered: Google, Apple, Spotify, and many more. Subscribe, do not miss a beat. Once again, we will be continuing the 5-9 festivities with some awesome Twitch stream action tonight with some Among Us, possibly some Mario Party. So make sure you guys are checking back in later on. And don't forget to check out tomorrow's episode of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast for TheMaskedNingen, Goresh, Minato, and Havohei. I'm Toonrami. Thank you once again for watching. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.